not streaming.
Oh no!
God damn,
no,
don't about to stream.
Don't do that. Yeah,
So
we made that mistake.
I haven't live streamed in a while. So
Why?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
just the
pressure's too great.
No, I did fuck up one episode real bad once. So I didn't realize my audio was terrible the entire time. And everybody's like, "Oh, it sucks," and I'm like, "All the settings are fine. Fuck off."
And then you listen and you're like, oh, it's terrible.
And I was like, "Oh, that was pretty good." Anyway, I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
I'm Jeffrey.
This is Coffee Before Bed,
Uh-huh.
episode 144. So what's new?
I don't pay attention. I haven't paid attention to like any politics at all.
Oh, no politics? You've been watching basketball.
Yeah, so I listen to basketball. I listen to all the talk stuff. So, yeah, so I haven't even sniffed politics.
Well, the Nuggets' ticket is wrote. It's just the what?
We had a golden ticket to the title. And now
What with?
Boston's gonna come back and win it, and that's gonna make it a hard series. We dominate Miami, and we get to start at home and everything else. Ugh, now we're gonna have to go to Boston. I guess technically Miami still could win, but
Well, I mean, there's one game left to play.
yeah, they blew it last
Well,
night.
that's it. I didn't watch the game. I just saw a weird series of tweets and cryptic things that people said. So I had to go investigate. Like, what is everybody all like? What's everybody all bitching about? And then yeah,
I was just hurt with them winning that game, as if the Nuggets lost like Game 5. Like I was just like, oh no, our title. Oh, this one's gonna hurt. We're gonna have to actually play. Because otherwise it would have been like the Nuggets playing with their food. They would have. They would have had it so easy. But the Celtics will be. It'll be a good series, I guess. But
yeah, but you didn't want a good series.
I don't want to see. No, I was cool with a sweep.
Well, this is the question, right? When it comes down to it, if I go back to like Denver football titles, right? If I go ahead and put the Packers versus Falcons back to back, and I say, which one did you like more?
Packers one was pretty freaking.
Well, it's a great game, right?
It was a good game.
That was
As far as I'm concerned, it's up there in like the top like 3 Super Bowls I've ever watched. But what about next year's absolute routing?
Okay, I'll put it this way. The routing was great, enjoyable as the Bronco fan, but for the history books and for you to be able to like say that you won the Super Bowl, like it carries all the weight. Like the Broncos Falcons Super Bowl can almost be forgotten that it ever happened.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Well, there were people that at the time they joked. They said like Denver's won 1.5 Super Bowls.
Right, I do. Yeah. Nobody expected them to beat Green Bay. Then the next year was like Atlanta's going to get murdered. So.
That being said, I'm so happy Minnesota did not go to the Super Bowl. Because I don't know how that. So that's exactly what this year is. We could have just steamrolled Miami.
Right.
We could still beat the Celtics. We could have still beat the Vikings. But holy crap, that's a whole different.
And in Denver's case, right, the year before, the only reason that they didn't walk straight in was a fluke game that they lost to Jacksonville.
Right.
Yeah, right. Because the truth came out. Mark Brunell was not the super stud that we all thought he was.
Who thought he was?
I was at that
Well,
game.
it was after that game.
I was at that one.
Oh,
It was
Jacksonville one.
yeah.
it was after that game that people thought he was great because of his performance that game. They're like, this guy's going to be a special guy, but it turned out he just turned out to be another asshole lefty quarterback that you couldn't trust.
Hey, he was solid. Like he wasn't the worst. He would never turn into like a turnover machine or, Vince Young his way out of the NFL. Or
That's the verb.
hey, that dude made a Madden cover.
Oh,
So-
really?
He
Oh,
did.
yeah.
That was when they started getting cursed.
That was one of them. But yeah, I
Michael
mean,
Vick one.
he was solid. He wasn't ever.
But he was never a.
He's not a Hall of Fame.
I was going to say, was he a top 15 guy in the league?
Oh no.
He might have been around that 12 to 18.
Right,
He
right.
was right around.
And he's a middle guy.
Yeah,
right. That's why I'm saying, yeah, they lost to a dude that because he looked so on fire that game, they're like, whoa, this guy's going to be something special.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so in theory, that could have been 3 titles.
True, but
Well, because you know who went in their place, right?
year before the Broncos went.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because who went the Packers went the year before as well.
They did.
That's why they were expected to steamroll them. They beat the Patriots. They
Oh.
built the Parcells Patriots
that's right.
with Drew Bledsoe.
Oh yeah.
And it was a fairly close game, but it wasn't that close.
No, yeah.
It was
yeah.
closer on numbers than it was on paper, than the actual game, right?
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was after the Broncos run there, after they sort of cleaned it out and said, like, look, as far as I'm concerned, that's a tipping point in the NFL because the AFC had finally flipped it over. After so many years of being the NFC's absolute just whipping boys, it's like, well, who's going to lose to the Niners this year? Who's going to lose to the Giants this year, right?
Yeah.
This was after those 4 embarrassments from Buffalo, right?
Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that Redskins, 49ers, Dallas, Giants, that cycle of...
Yeah. And then it went all AFC once Brady and Manning and
It was Jim
Roethlisberger.
Kelly. I was trying to think of who that was for a second. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It was Jim Kelly.
Yeah, because the closest that really any of those came was the actual Boomer Esiason 88s.
Well, Norwood just missed it.
Well, yeah,
that's true.
Twice.
Well, that one with the Giants was 1 point game or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, they
But I mean, in terms of actually beating the Niners, when it was
nobody came.
no. Well, that
Yeah.
game was actually close. I think it was like 24-20.
Yeah,
What the
the first one with
was
Yeah.
that like 86 or something?
It was way
It was
back.
a long time ago.
Yeah, that was Bengals Niners, and I think it was like
It was pretty close.
24-20. Yeah, and
'Cause
then
he did his drive at the end
yeah.
where he saw John Candy in the audience and all that stuff. I don't know if you heard the story. and
I
all
have
that.
not heard
not
this.
heard
You
it.
know, I don't want to
So
hear this bullshit.
They
anyway.
were all freaking in, all hyped up, and then he just walks in the huddle. He's like, "Hey guys, look, John Candy's watching us." And then pointed him out, and everyone kind of looked. He's like, "All right, let's go," and he just went. So they're like, "Yeah, he took everything off of us stressing out about this final drive and stuff, and he just was like, hey, look." Oh,
John
okay.
Candy.
And then he just called out a play, and they're like, "Yeah, we were just playing football then. It was cool."
But that's bullshit because I've no, I don't mean that because like, what is stress to Joe Montana? I've heard his angry voice, right? That dude did not have one of the like fierce, angry voices. He was a soft-spoken kind of weird, like soft-spoken quarterback, right? So he was practically like Mormon in his delivery. Like it's like, dang it, guys, they got us on that
Gosh
one.
darn it.
Yeah. They're pulling off
Yeah,
the corner
he's a
early and they
calming
almost got to
influence.
me.
He wasn't the Isotoner. No, that was Dan Marino, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dan Marino.
yeah. He was
That was the
Isotoner.
weirdest product matchup to a dude.
Well, you gotta protect your hand.
Yes, man, but those are like my mom wore Isotoner. So
Well, okay. So what about it was who was Mr. Coffee? It was a Yankee, old school Yankee.
I don't know.
Reggie Jackson.
No. I can't. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. But yeah, there have been some dudes that have been tied to brands. There was a Mr. Coffee one for a while
But see, that's not
I
that
don't remember
weird.
that one.
So
with baseball.
yeah, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It's just like, I'm Dan Marino. I'm a badass, and I wear fucking ladies' driving gloves. So
They had a men's line.
right. Did you know any man who wore one? My dad had those knuckleless gloves. My mom
Were
had
they
the
isotoners?
No, they were not isotoners.
I didn't think they
Yeah,
were.
of course not. So
But Marino did have he endorsed something. I can't remember what it was though. I mean, aside from
He endorsed plenty. Of
yeah,
stuff.
he had a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I
don't
mean,
remember
he was synonymous with Joe Montana football. It was his game line.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I mean, like
yeah.
actual product stuff. Like he sold stuff.
It just
I just remember always selling cars.
Well, that was his business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember him getting too many like Coke commercials.
I do cocaine.
Right, that's different.
He was not the wave of a new generation.
Well, he wasn't a face.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
it's weird if you think about it. Like, flip it around for a second. Look at the quarterbacks that came by. All right, so Aaron Rodgers was discount double check for a long time.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Right. Peyton Manning was Papa John.
Yeah, well, they had something. And
Yeah,
Direct
nationwide.
TV,
Yeah, direct.
Okay.
because he was the laser rocket arm.
Right. The winningest one of them, Mr. Brady, was he anything? No. He appeared on like a Travelocity commercial or something like that. It was something weird. And even then it was,
Yeah, it is weird that these guys don't.
yeah, it wasn't just by record. It was like, well, I guess people just don't like you.
There are a lot of people who just don't like him. Yeah.
I guess so.
It's weird.
He's
isn't
got
it?
some sort of
Yeah.
commercial out now. I can't remember what the product.
Did he decide not to do the announcing this fall?
I don't know, but he just bought part of the Raiders.
Why?
Did he? To dismantle it?
Yeah.
Scrap it for parts?
Well, because if you own any football team, your profitability of it goes up by, I don't know, billions.
Oh, right. Right.
Like, I'll take 1% of your team. Thank you.
No, you're right. And I have no idea what percentage he would have bought or anything like that. But yeah, well, it didn't. There's a couple of guys that bought teams that they were not part of, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's the thing now. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in that club, you get to put a stake into a team, and then they throw you around like, hey, look who owns part of our team, Brady. Everybody,
Yeah,
clap.
yeah.
yeah.
Works out great when it's John Elway. So,
Does he still work for the organization?
no,
or-
they tossed his ass.
He's welcome around the
Finally.
team, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's Peyton show, not Peyton Manning. Although they might bring him in at some point. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah,
No,
we'll see.
looking forward
I
to
don't
it.
know, man. I don't think that I don't think that Peyton wants those guys hanging around.
He wants ownership.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah,
He wants-
he's pretty much a one man show. I mean, they were talking about that on radio the other day when they were bitching about having to go to Boston too, but they were also talking.
Well, I don't understand this. Why would they have to go to Boston?
Well, there's radio guys, and so covering the game, and so I don't know.
Oh, the basketball game?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like football. I'm like, why did
No.
Broncos have to
No,
do
no,
that?
but they were complaining about. They were talking about Sean Payton too, so on it, and how he's basically brought his own like fucking entourage of,
Oh, yeah.
basically kicks everybody else out. And,
That's fine.
yeah, so
This disaster was not worth saving pieces.
right,
of.
right. So and apparently Coach Brian did the same thing at CU. He went in there and cut
Oh.
everybody. So he's like, I
He's
got all my boys.
ruthless.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Like
so
I'm kind of into CU football. I might actually watch a game or two
Yeah.
just to see.
just usually so embarrassing. I can't
They've
get through it,
been.
man. I'd rather watch Air
But-
Force, man. At least you're supposed to lose. So
But it's prime, man.
I know,
I'm
man.
curious. He's got the buzz, so it's at least interesting. Even if they suck, it's entertainment.
yeah. Well, he'll attract a lot of football talent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know the whole story. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
College football is weird. It's all about poaching stuff now.
Yeah.
You can literally just steal players from other teams.
Yep.
It just doesn't seem like the way it used to be. Am I
It's
wrong?
nowhere
Is it,
close.
like,
No, you can now pay the play. Like they can take endorsements, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So now it's about checks.
Yeah. And you get the special dorm.
Yeah. So it's all about creating the sweet package. You want to get on TV. You want to go to the NFL. You want to do this. You go here, get some checks, get this. You want a starting job. You don't have to sit out a year anymore. You just come on over.
Yeah, come
we got
on
a
over.
spot.
All right. So in some of the last few conversations that I will have with some of these students that I'm cutting loose, right? I've asked them about sports in their home countries, and I'm kind of convinced that their attitude towards sports is actually a better thing than what we do here. Not on the professional level, right? Because once you get into like, because it's all soccer there, like it is, this Polish guys, it's like,
Kicky ball.
yeah, it's all about kicky ball. It's all about, yeah, you're right. It's the difference between like, so kickball to soccer is like the difference between miniature golf and golf, right?
Right.
Well, in principle,
Well, one of them, like depending on who you are, is like way more fun because you're like, well, yeah, because I'm like hitting this through this like four-armed wind field and
right,
like,
yeah.
through Cthulhu's teeth or whatever,
Right, yeah,
right?
It comes out that hole. That's
yeah.
yeah.
But so I'm asking them about their college sports programs, right? And they're like, there are none.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like, no, you have clubs. And you join these clubs. It's like, there's no athletics at the university. What are you, crazy? This is a place to learn.
That
right?
depends on the country, though, man.
Well,
yeah.
that's it, yeah.
It's not that way in England. I can tell you that right now. So
I'm sure that there are still some.
No.
They
They'll do the sports there. So.
Well, yeah, but when it comes down to it, they have individual clubs that you're going to join. And I kind of like that idea more because, like, all right, well, don't take up spots at the university. Don't pretend that this is like something that it's not. If you're good enough to go ahead and play at basically these juniors, because there are no drafts in these things, right? You go and play in these clubs, and they go ahead and scout you out. So if you have just like local football team, Japan's the same way, Korea, these are all,
the same way.
yeah, all the same way. You get these guys into the sports that they're playing full time, not under the pretense of this. You can actually pay them outright without having to like do this
At younger ages and all that stuff.
Yeah, you could start when you're 15.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to do this circuitous paying, not paying, kind of bullshit. And you can just get in there and you have this weird, that's where they have like really, really eccentric fandoms for like small like clubs where like you would have like the Village 7, hooligans or whatever. I don't know what if there's a historical thing that we can tie to these people, but you have these people that are diehard, for these real local teams, right? Like, you know what, that actually makes sense. And then you can actually like you can see if Alabama's really as good of an educational school as they say to be, or God help you, the Ohio State University. Crooked as shit.
Arizona State.
That'll
Miami.
be a party school no matter what.
Yeah, it will be a party.
The same thing go with the U Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of saw the merit in that. I'm like, this actually makes sense.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I kind of like the system the way it is.
I get it, but it'd be weird. Like,
I mean, a lot of people go to college just to play sports, so
or you get to go to college because of the sport.
A lot of my students, the only reason they're in college is because they get to play sports.
Huh.
Yeah,
but there's nothing that excludes you from going to college and also playing sports. You're just part of that club.
Yeah, but they wouldn't
don't
go
get
to
a
college.
scholarship.
Yeah, they wouldn't get a scholarship.
Well, no,
so.
and I'm not saying that. But you'd be getting a check from
From what?
from playing.
Oh, to be fair, you'd have to go pretty far down the ladder to get my guys to play. And so, I mean, we got some good athletes, but most of them are just, I get to do 4 years more in football, and then I'm done forever.
Yeah.
And they know it.
Yeah, especially with football, you don't have pickup games at the Y anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You either play football at an organized thing or it's
Well, they got minor league teams, so
Yeah, and that's sort of what this replaces.
Yeah, but there's there's not, the only people who go to those games are family members. So
Well,
I mean, I've seen them all the time, man. They used to play up Rangewood up there, and
well, yeah.
you'd be like, okay, so there's no bleachers. People just stand on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And so that's all of the fans. And there's
Right.
like more players than.
But that being said,
Yeah.
take out all of those things. Take out basically all the players in college right now and put those into leagues where the guys are getting paid, they're doing, local endorsements and all that other stuff, yeah, you'd have more fans.
I think so, but I mean,
It-
it'd be pretty distributed, man. So like the NFL's got what, 32 teams in it. So and those are basically the only teams that anybody cares about, except for like some of your bigger college ones or in communities where there is no.
They're trying to do what the XFL and whatever.
Oh man, it is so bad too.
But I don't
nobody
even
watches
watch it.
Yeah, no. I've
I
tried
love
watching
football,
a couple
and
of
I'm
them.
like,
Yeah.
I couldn't care less. So.
But that's the thing, yeah. That's the argument is that both leagues at that point would actually benefit greatly because there's more, talent going in there, and you would distribute it a little bit more evenly.
Yeah, maybe.
I will watch college football games. And these guys are supposed to be better than the college football games. I have zero interest in watching it.
Oh, you mean XFL and stuff?
Whatever they're calling them.
Well, do you dislike the XFL because it has sort of like it still has sort of like a
No, because it's just teams I couldn't care less about.
I was gonna say it still
They
feels
have-
like it's got like a
They have
like a-
no history.
yeah.
Well, and it's just too much football too. I mean, like football's good because it lasts for only so long. It's only on the weekends, basically. You get your fix, and then by the time the XFL rolled around,
It's
in
like
March,
right
it's
after
like
the
fuck
Super
that.
Bowl.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah,
Oh, she just snuggled up right to Will's feet.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's just...
yeah. It's just I don't even think I've watched one game. I'm just like, I just don't care.
I watched one.
Did you?
It was funny. It's because I was trying to muster up. For me, it felt like I was watching like a Pirates Padres game, right? Where I'm like, yes, I'm aware of you. Yes, you guys are playing
do
baseball,
exist, yeah.
right? And yes, you do play in a league that I watch, but I also couldn't give a fuck about this. It was just something that, were I not lifting weights at the time, I would have found anything else to watch. I just think sports are the best thing to watch while you're...
I think I saw the score, or I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but I think the team that won the title this year, or whatever the league is called, had like a 3-8 record. I don't know how.
It sounds like you got some weird gunfight rules at the end.
I don't know about
This is Jeff's rule.
No.
They actually employed it.
No, get the fuck out. There's no possible way. Remember that when it comes down to challenging for the Lombardi, there is no possible way a 3-8 team. You have to be leading the division
Well, they might have
to
been.
challenge for
They
it.
might have been
Just to
leading the
challenge.
division.
Oh yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they were in the crappy division and 3 was the leader.
But you'd have to do that, and you'd have to challenge out that team. And remember, you're the highest ranked team that throws the challenge is the one that gets the actual challenge.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I saw the record and I was like,
What?
wait, is this
Yeah.
a
It
championship?
wouldn't
Wait,
surprise me, man. That's fine.
did they win?
Well, they've had like 3 different launches of that thing too, because they had the Arena League.
But that's different.
I know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like
I think there's 2 of them going.
I think there's 2 of them, and I watched one. That was back in like March too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, no, okay, let's check this out, and after a little bit, it's like, the stands are empty. The announcers
they?
are stupid. I don't know who anybody is, so it was just like, yeah, okay.
It just doesn't.
Well, weren't they just sort of banking on what The Rock to bring the prestige to it?
I think that was the other league, was it? Or was that the XFL that Rock
I
went to?
don't know. I don't even know what the other one is. I don't know if it's USFL, L, or.
Yeah, it
something.
is. It's something like that.
What's the... Okay, what are all the competitors to the Crown that we've come across? It's the Waffle,
What are you talking about?
the
Other
competing
leagues that have
NFL,
tried?
competing football leagues, and it was the World League,
Oh,
World
the
League,
Waffle,
yeah.
right? The USFL, the XFL.
Well,
Was there-
USFL had teams brought into the NFL.
Well, because right. They sort of like it was like the AFL,
Yeah.
the
The NBA.
ABA,
Yeah.
NBA merger, yeah.
So.
Well,
But
and this,
yeah,
it'd
since
go
then-
to all the way back to the AFL, NFL days too. But yeah,
But yeah, and these new ones have straight up said they're not trying to compete with the NFL.
Yeah.
good.
They're like, we're not doing. We're just gonna try and give some football when football's not on. And it's like,
Well, I think that's how they have to succeed. Yeah.
well, if they should do it, they should do it during the summer and just be like, all right, let's kick baseball's ass.
Yeah, that's kind of low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I'm like, let's
Just
just
gonna take out the weakest of the herd. You know?
everybody doesn't care about the baseball during the summer, so just throw something on, watch these guys die in the heat.
Well, they're only going to play on one day a week anyway, right?
That's right. It was on in March, and people were shouting it down because March Madness was on.
Yeah.
So they're like, "No, turn the fucking basketball on. We don't want to watch this."
Right.
It's
football."
whatever this thing
Yeah.
is.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because you think you're riding the wave of the NFL, but it's like, no, we're done.
Yeah, we moved on. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then now we're going to get into all the championship stuff, March Madness, and then the playoffs for the basketball and hockey. Just throw something in during
You know,
summer.
actually, that makes perfect sense because if you think about it, right, you don't start eating like your Holocaust food in your kitchen until you're out of food. You don't, like after a meal, you're not just like, yeah, but I'm still hungry, right? I'll eat like
Chex Mix. It's like, this is nutritious.
I wasn't even thinking Chex Mix. I was thinking like crustáce's, like pancake mix.
Oh, right, the batter. He just whips it up. Yeah.
Yeah, but after you haven't eaten for about 3 or 4 months, then you might look at this and say like, all right, gotcha. This will hold me over
Yeah.
until we go out for steak. Right. That actually makes perfect sense when, Will just says go whip baseball's ass. I think you're onto something.
Somebody should.
Yeah, because that actually is very counterintuitive. I know in certain other leagues, like, I know this is kind of a weird comparison, but evidently, like, wrestling is healthier than ever because they now have actually viable.
Like WWE wrestling or
Yeah, well, so because back in the day when we used to watch, there were 2 leagues,
Yeah.
and they actually played against each other very well, right? Then WCW got merged into WWF, right? And then it just, when they were the only game in town, right, it sort of like went off the rails stupid. And then I guess there's this new, it's like 5-10 years older now, like AEW wrestling. And
Oh, I've seen that.
yeah, and evidently they just went out there like, well, we're just going to do stuff. We're going to let the wrestlers just sort of like decide on what they're going to do. And the wrestlers had fun with it. And evidently the both end products are both way better than they were before because they had people bouncing between the leagues, right?
I don't have a clue when that's even on.
I don't
It's on
either.
all the
I would have to watch.
All the
On all fucking time. So,
Really?
Oh yeah, it's not hard to find it. It's yeah. They,
I mean,
they,
I
they
definitely
got shit going on just about every week. So
Oh, she went. Okay.
yeah, it's on at the bottom all the time.
Oh, really?
All the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's always
Gotcha.
like
I was
one
like, when
TV
would
that's
you
dedicated to wrestling.
turn
Well, there's so
on?
many different types of wrestling. So you have, the headliners, and then you have, everybody on the
women,
undercard, the women, everything.
So you know
So-
a little bit about it, it sounds like.
I don't. It's
okay.
over there in the corner. I can't read that far away, so I don't know. So, but it is always fucking on. So, I personally have never gotten anything out of wrestling. So,
I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I absolutely loved
When
it.
I
And
still
part of that,
thought it was real.
yeah.
well, and part of that too came from the fact that my dad loved it.
Yeah.
That was a family experience, and it was silly, but
We actually ordered one pay-per-view.
yeah. You remember which one it was?
It was the where they throw a last man standing.
The Royal Rumble.
Royal
yes.
Rumble.
The
Royal
first
Rumble,
Royal
yeah.
Rumble, yes. Yeah. Yeah, see, this was the thing was my understanding is for people that enjoy it, they say that it is better than it's been in like 20 years. Right. Now again, I can't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why people like it, knowing what they know, because if you can somehow equate that experience into basically you're watching essentially a movie, right? And you can sort of get that same like hype into it. All right, I can get it, but I'm just like, I'll just watch the movie. Like, it's fine. I'll watch.
Yeah. Once
It's a performance. Yeah, it's like going
once
to
the
Cirque du
door was
Soleil.
open and I knew it wasn't real.
Yeah.
It was like,
No, it's-
that
it's-
sucks. Why do I care who's gonna win? You guys just wrote it out. Like,
Well, so my understanding here is, yes, you go out there and you practice this stuff,
Mhm.
and you try to make it look as theatrical as you can, and then there's a certain amount of basic like improvisation that goes into it, which is where the art comes in. But like I said, it's essentially like you look at the lengths that they're willing to go through, or you get the guys that are willing to basically like slice their heads open, or stuff like this. For it's all for theatrics, right?
Yeah.
But again, for me, I don't. It's not doing it. It's not. It's just not clicking.
No.
It's that same thing where maybe if I knew it was a performance from the beginning,
Mm.
right, might be a different story. But as soon as that wave of like man versus wild disappointment sunk in, when I found out that fucker was sleeping in hotels, it's like I can't watch. Even if there's good stuff to know from this,
Right.
I can't watch it.
Can't watch it anymore.
Can't watch it because of what I thought it was.
Yeah.
When I thought you would die. When I thought I would see your
Yeah.
death on television. Remember? Okay, so I remember way back, season 1 of Survivor, right? People thought
Oh,
that
Lord.
the people
Yeah.
on the island were in some kind of actual risk.
Right.
I didn't get into it because I'm like, no, man, it's a TV.
It's
What
a
are you
TV
fucking?
show,
Are you
yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Like, are you think they're actually gonna sit there? It's like he's dying of fatal dysentery, and we have to let it happen. He pooped himself to death.
He literally pooped
Roll
himself
camera.
inside. Yeah.
Because that's what would happen if you're out there in those places. Yes. They're like, you're gonna run with this, right? You guys are going to jail. You understand this, right? You can't air this.
Yeah. I think there was one. I can't remember if it was It wasn't Survivor. There was another show. It
Was
might
it
have
in
been
the
like
same
the
vein?
first Big Brother or something like that,
Mm.
where someone actually did get hurt, and it showed up in the news like fucking 6 months before the episode cut. And it was like, oh, there's the fourth wall. You know?
Oh.
Something actually happened. I can't remember if it was that one or it was something else, but yeah.
Well, we would watch the Curse of Oak Island, and they'd be digging for treasure and
Which
stuff.
one is that?
There's an island where up in Canada.
Oh,
where
I
there-
know this
there-
thing.
What's this?
7 people are rumored. The curse goes that 7 people must die before the treasure is revealed.
Yeah.
6 have died already.
And there's a treasure.
And so there's
supposedly
a
massive
treasure.
gold treasure.
Well, it could be not gold.
Got
It
here,
could be,
really?
I'm
it
not
could be the
saying
Ark
that.
of the Covenant.
It could be the Ark of the Covenant, yeah.
And all this kind of stuff, and then we're just watching and we're like, dude, if they found the Ark of the Covenant, it's not gonna be on the show. It's gonna be like
darkness will watch all over the face of the earth.
it's gonna make the news. Like we're never gonna get to see anything that's like cool, and like they'll find like little pennies that are rotted or like old Spanish coins and things like. And they're like, oh, we're so close. It is weird. Like they have like, so there's a well that they've drilled, and they've drilled through like 10 layers of man-made structure underground.
Yeah.
So they're
Okay,
like, there
okay. has
to be something hidden under here. Because why else would you bury all this stuff? And like, it was set that once like a certain one was hit, like it flooded in from the ocean. So they're like, oh, it was set up to booby trap, so it's got to have this and all that, and
I thought it was actually an old World War II bunker.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I thought I saw a story.
You know,
on
wait,
that.
you know about this. Did
I
you
saw
watch
the
this
same
shit?
fucking show. It was
Oh,
on-
I didn't keep
Yeah.
watching after a certain point,
It
so they
was a
might have
series on
revealed it.
Netflix, I think. Or
Oh, it was on the History Channel, of
okay, well,
course.
yeah, even worse. So, you're right. I did see it on YouTube TV. That's where I saw it. And anyway,
It's history.
so yeah, it's these. There's a
They were oil guys, so
yeah.
that's like who started because they bring in like drilling equipment to be able to bore into the ground and
Okay.
pull up all
Yeah.
this stuff, and they're like taking samples and pulling out wood out of some of the samples, and they're like, oh, it's got this and it's got this, and we found this dating from this time, so it's potential that. Or they found rocks on the island that were marked in a cross, which was symbolic of the people that were hiding it, and so
Like an X.
no, it was it was actually like a cross, not perfect cross.
I almost lost that one.
I'm sorry. That's a producer did that.
But yeah, it's a
Sorry, Pat.
That's okay.
it's narrated by the same voice as Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck.
No, it is.
He's
Yeah,
the
it's
same guy. And does the same thing. Could this be? Is it possible? Our guys say yes. And so it's just
It's so stupid. Man.
it's the
these
same
Canadian
thing.
guys who have blown so much fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
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 Nobody has any idea what's supposed to be there, but I think I saw
Oh my god.
somewhere. This was because that show's a couple years old now.
Oh, it's got like 7 seasons.
I know, which I didn't understand. You know, why I kept going, but it was just it had that gold rush thing going on.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, and
Because you did get into that one for a while, too,
yeah, for
right?
the first year.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he went to the Amazon, and then we realized they're all fake, and he actually owns an airport. You're like, I don't own an airport. I'm not exactly, you know, buying your whole working man class hero thing. Right? So, until like I know more people who own airports than you know, I'll buy it. But since I don't, I won't.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
yeah, you're like, well, so the people I know who own airports, like Magic Johnson and you.
And you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think John Wayne had one.
Or he leased his name.
Right, at least
to it.
his
Yeah.
name, yeah.
What? You mean it's not like just paving your own basketball hoop in the backyard?
No.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, there was a thing that I saw about that a while back where it was like,
crying.
you know, yeah, I know. It was like, I can't remember if it was the Canadian government or somebody who actually knew what it was. And he was like, yeah, this is a bunker that they built in World War II to test this, this, and this. So there's a reason why it's next to the ocean and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a real buzzkill, you know, kind of thing. And they were like, you know, if you had gone to the library, they could have pulled the kind of thing.
It would have taken 10 minutes to research
exactly.
instead of just
So-
thinking that you're gonna get rich.
Yeah. It was something because he bought that land, if I'm not mistaken.
He bought part of it,
Right.
but I mean they have to keep going back to the Canadian government for permits and all
Right.
this kind of stuff because they'd be like, nah, you can't drill now. And they're like, well, we only have like a 1 month window.
Oh yeah.
And
The
then
snow's coming,
and
boss.
they straight up drained this entire swamp. Like they built like retaining walls
Yeah.
out there and then pumped all the water out trying to find like it's crazy.
It's not so.
They'd pump dye down some of the wells to see where it would shoot out, and it would be like shooting out like all sorts of different parts of the island. And they're like, it could
It's a
be
fucking
anywhere.
maze.
Yeah.
So this thing has layers. Yeah.
Well, I know that one of the live disappointments was there was that episode of, I think it was Ghost Hunters. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where, okay, so
I
these are the clowns
think I
I've
do.
talked about before with Zach Baggins and his, you know, his. Remember, his eyes were spooked by ghosts. That's why he has to wear like special prisms.
what the fuck? What was
I,
this?
I don't know.
I just remember the plumbers.
Okay,
Oh, those are different
We'll come
guys?
back to plumbers. Okay,
Okay,
but,
all right,
okay,
all right.
but the ghost hunters. These are the dudes that have been on for like 18 seasons. Now that's not like years. It's like
Those were the plumbers, though, right?
No,
Oh,
this
okay.
is so Zach Baggins is this guy. He owns this like.
Is he a hobbit?
It sounds like it.
Sounds like a hobbit.
But-
Okay.
Okay, but it's not spelled with 2 G. Evidently, so here's the thing. So if you want to say it correctly, because I've done so many episodes of this fucking
Baggins.
show, right? Is well, no, you got to pronounce it like fucking like North Carolina Bagans.
Bagans.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's remember, there's no C in there. It's ZAK. But it just my
I know who you're talking about.
this is the
Excellent.
dude who he wears these glasses, right? He's the guy with the glasses. He looks like about your age, right?
Oh, we're like the same age.
No, but he also has like your build,
Oh, okay.
right? He doesn't look like me.
Oh, okay.
And he and his team of like 4 losers, you know, walk around and these.
Are the losers interchangeable? Like,
As
do they
far as I'm
pivot in and out year after year?
As far as I'm concerned, these are personality-less, you know, dipshits. This is the guy that will like walk into places and they set it up as
Does he suddenly disappear?
No, he does not suddenly disappear. That would be funny.
Is he like one of the guys in the Star Trek where you're wearing the wrong color shirt?
He's not a fucking red shirt. He's the star of this, and so what they'll do is they'll talk to like a local expert, right? They'll go to this like this is the haunted orphanage, right? And so they'll go talk to the expert about some like disastrous thing that happened there, right? And he and these fucking dorks will walk around here in the dark with their remember, these are the guys that have the pagers that actually
that speak to him or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so these fucking dorks will walk around here and they'll get some like little bit of information and they'll talk about it, right? And they'll go through the dark and they'll say like, is this the spirit of Abner spoken? If it's you, can you talk to us? Knock over this axe right now, right? That's the stupid shit that's going on. Well, they had a live event, right?
I remember this.
And there was this thing called a Dybbuk box.
Yep.
Right? And they had this like rabbi there because this is supposed to be this box that holds in this like demon. Right?
Oh.
And they're going to open it live. Now, the thing is, the rabbi, I don't think he knows that it's live, or maybe he doesn't. But, you know, they're sitting there recording this, and he's like, so tell us, you know, what's holding this in here? He's like, oh, it's a box. And he's like, well, like, are there, and on the video, the rabbi is like, so what do you want me to say?
Oh,
Yeah, dead serious. Like, he's like, what do you want me to say? Because he's like, do you want me to ham it up? This is like happening live, right? He's like, how do you want me to tell this, right? And yeah, again,
And are the other guys just being like,
no, they played it off like champs, right? To their credit, they played it off like champs, either because they weren't listening or, you know, trying to turn it into something where like Zach Bagans is like, you're clearly the demons have gotten to him, right? You know, so he didn't do any crazy shit like that, but you know, they're just like, okay, no worries. Well, we'll take another look at this, you know. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that I, dude, I gotta tell you, when I watch these shows, and again, I've done these things, right? You have no idea how badly I want to believe this crap is real, right? I would love for them to actually capture something that makes me say like, what the fuck?
Time to go to church.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I call you guys in the middle. It's like, you guys, before I send this in, you guys have to come see this shit.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's just, it's like you can't go out there and put a fucking ghost pager in this thing and have it send little messages where they're like, okay, I've got the thing going, and it'll pop it, and it'll make this little like voice pop up, right? And it'll say, murder.
Right, yeah. Red round. You know.
Sad.
Wasn't the worst live reveal when, like, way back when
Al Capone's vault?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geraldo.
Yeah.
That's right. That kind of blew up his career.
It did.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah, there was like 5 pieces of paper in there.
There was a bottle. Yeah,
In
there was
a
an empty bottle.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, and it was like, oh, cool.
But you know, the thing about that is, if you think about it, that is realistically the best kind of live TV you can get, because there should be disappointments. There should be.
Yeah,
It's authentic.
Yeah, it's
Right.
authentic.
Right. Because I believe
Storage Wars.
in the.
Oh no!
Fuck off with that. I was ready to start a new career.
Yep.
We have storage lockers out here.
I did, well, there's those ones over where you used to live. I was like, wonder what's in those. I ran by them all the time.
So who's the plumbers?
I thought that was Ghost Hunters, but it was.
I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the 2 guys that they were plumbers, and they started a TV show on Sci-Fi that went for about.
I think they were the first guys, actually.
They might have been, and then it got passed off to Zach Bagans. I can't remember though, because I do remember they had some crossovers, because that guy was like doing his own thing before that. I don't know if he was necessarily on TV or he might have been a YouTuber. I can't remember.
Well, okay, so the guys you're talking about, I think the plumbers were like the first dudes that did it.
yeah.
Right? But there was also like a British one that was going at the same time.
So that one I do remember a live show of that one where they're running around a castle, you know, and it's fucking nothing happened. So the entire time, they're trying to do the same thing with they're like fucking heat thermal guns, you know, and they're like, oh, there's people over there. I was like, yeah, they're people. You know?
The only thing that's different was that they were asking the questions Britishly. That is the only thing.
No, I do remember that one. But those guys got busted because they did an overnight thing. I can't remember where it was. It might have been in like Carson City or something like that, where he's pulling, and everybody pointed out that he's sitting there pulling on the cord of the lamp to make it move like this.
Oh!
And everybody's like, wait a minute, fucking back up the truck and look at that shit, because he actually had his hand in frame doing it.
Oh!
So, and they just imploded after they were gone.
Oh, yeah. You deserve to get yanked.
Straight up charlatans.
I think the fat guy actually did come back because he wasn't the guy who was pulling the string. But it was the other guy who was like, you know what? I made a lot of money. I'm out. You know?
It's a good run. Yeah, absolutely.
I went for glory. I busted.
Yeah, but their whole thing was, their shtick was they were ghost hunters by night. And so they'd always have this, like, they'd start in the day where he's, like, fucking pulling a xylophone out of a toilet. So, you know, well, just doing his plumber gig or something.
One of those guys ex-military? Wasn't that part of the shtick too?
I don't know. I think they were both plumbers. One of them was, I think the fat guy was an ex-cop. I think that was his thing.
He was called the plumber.
Right. But they became plumbers, and the other guy was actually a web designer and had a shitload of money. So, because he was one of those early web designers. And then, so they would make lots of money plumbing, and then they would go and spend the night at somebody's house when it was haunted or something, and they'd do the same bullshit where they walk around with the thermal guns. You know, it's just like, oh, something's tapping on the walls.
Did you hear that?
And you have all your stupid sci-fi-ass jump cuts in there, so it was just... But I watched it for probably about 2 years.
I know you did.
I know. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to see something real, man, because it was the same thing. It was like, I really want the shit to be real. So, but yeah, it's probably not. So,
yeah, it's it. I don't. Here's the thing, man. I never fault people for their hustle.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Because people are getting something out of it. Like shit, dudes on the rig used to watch this shit.
Oh yeah.
They were like, "Do you believe in this?" I'm so like, "No, man." I was like, "Why not?" I'm like, "What these guys are doing?" It's like, look, there could be something going on, but that's not going to be found by these idiots.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they have the things where they're like, "Oh, check this thing out." So, if we have this machine here that if something comes out that kind of emulates the figure of a ghost, it makes this little like weird skeleton thingy show up on the screen. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
That's hilarious.
There were this, I can't remember, I think it was the England people where they got lit up because they would do this thing where they'd go in there and say like, oh, there's a hostile spirit in here. It's like, oh, I can feel it getting my back. Yeah. And they would walk out in the light and they'd have like cuts on them and shit. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, they got called out.
It's like,
so
if you're telling me that you guys were physically attacked by a spirit and you're just doing this for television, every scientist on the planet, if they came out there and you had 4 equal scratches on your shoulder and then on your leg and all this other stuff, if there was actually evidence, every actual scientist would be here, like with all sorts of equipment, like we got there's something here, right?
I don't know if you get some. I don't think you get all. I think you get more that would just be like, yeah, that's fake.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying. If this actually happened,
but I think that it would be so much that people would think.
Oh,
it's
that
fake,
just is bullshit.
Like,
yeah, I think it's like the same thing with the UFOs, man. So many people have looked and they just like fuck it, you know. So if you say something about it now, they're just like, all right.
I don't know. They released the ones that like the government had that were pretty cool.
Yeah, until you go into a deep dive on some of those, then you learn that ghost hunters isn't real. So I'm not gonna push you down there, man.
But if the government is showing, like, if the government was like,
So the government
Hey,
issued a
we
lot of shit,
recorded.
but you seen those ones with like the Tic Tac and stuff?
Yeah.
You can tell by just looking at the actual like camera, okay, because it's got all the chyrons around
Right.
it that show what's going on. The camera's zooming in. That's why it's moving that fucking fast. So it took a Navy guy about 15 minutes to point that out.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It was the same thing for.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, man.
Because I've heard the Navy guys actually talk about how
there-
it's real.
Yeah, no, there's a few Navy pilots who have come out. Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. So have them say what they want to say, but you know, with the one where they've got the picture of it, it's just camera being zoomed in that makes it look like it's going that fast. So, which is really disappointing.
That's the same thing for. I remember like 25 years, they were convinced of these unseeable things called flying rods.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I did some extensive research on it, and then eventually they figured it out 25 years later. They said, well, that's a moth. And
Oh yeah.
and it turns out that it's the reason that it does this is because of basically the frames taken by the film.
Mhm.
So because it's capturing it at these intervals and the film basically fills in the gaps, it looks like these organic moving flying rods with like wing structures. Because there's one that appears during a football game.
Yeah.
I remember everybody was like, what the fuck was... I'm like, I know what that is, right? Yeah, but eventually it just turned out, it's like, no, this is just a coincidence of the way that it's capturing this, plus the fact it has erratic movements of a bug. But if you draw the lines between there, it looks like this snaking thing that you're like, the fuck? These things are around us at all times? Well,
Gosh,
like,
yeah.
kind of, yes. I have a salt gun to take care of them. Yeah, there's this shit that I want to believe. Like the thing that I did look up, I had a memory the other day of a clip that I watched on That's Incredible back in the day, and it was about this guy that would put numbers on these coins from 1 to 5 and then swallow them, and then retrieve them in order. Then he would swallow a light bulb.
I remember that.
Okay, he remembers
Yeah.
it. Then he would swallow a light bulb and
remember
regurgitate that. He would take a Rubik's Cube, swallow it, and then mess it up and spit it back up. I was like, what happened to this guy? So I go look.
Stomach cancer.
Well, so I'm like, I wonder if anybody has this clip, right? So I'm like,
remember
I'm
that
not
guy.
sure what to look for on YouTube. And I'm like, I was like, dude that swallows. And I'm like, I don't like this.
Better go incognito here, man.
Yeah. The place is family friendly it up, but I go back and it turns out this dude has been like performing for like the past like 20 years under the name The Regurgitator and has been doing variants of this the whole time. Because that was the dude. I forgot about this. The other thing that he did was he swallowed goldfish.
Okay, I do remember that. I remember the quarter trick specifically.
And he would like wiggle his tummy around.
Yeah, I
and be
know.
Like,
Yeah.
Tell me which one you want.
Yeah.
Oh, number 2. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, so you think it's real? So he's just got a skill.
Oh, it's some kind of act, man. So
Well, I don't. He says, when he tells his story, he says that he was an orphan and that he used to
At
hide
the haunted orphanage.
He said
sitting here just absolutely spinning you a yarn.
to
man.
keep his money from the other children when it was born, he would swallow it and then cough it back up. I've always suspected that he's missing the cleft.
Oh, yeah.
And basically he would suck that into into this area, just like right up top here.
Right.
And just like, kind of like pocket it right there. I don't know. I've never seen that far on the inside of his mouth. As far as I'm concerned, for like right now, like as far as I can tell, you're swallowing these things, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I always thought it was a neat act. I remember.
I
seeing
love that act, yeah.
I remember
And
seeing
just
that.
like 2 days ago, I was like, well, there's a dude that's like swallowed goldfish. And I was like, yeah.
And he'd cough him back up and they'd still be alive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I do remember that guy.
You can watch. He's been doing this for a long time. Evidently,
Is it a Vegas show or something?
well, yeah. There's tons of clips that he was on. Evidently, he was like Irish. I didn't remember that, but
I don't remember.
but he's been on like Britain's Got Talent and all those
Oh.
other shows. So
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a
Interesting
weird
career.
memory, man. There are, like, you and I have talked about certain, like, shared memories of, like, commercials and stuff and shows. Like, so I think anybody of a certain age group remembers bending the wire and pointing it at the thing at Stonehenge.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's my dream. It is literally my dream. And now people are telling me that you can't even get that close to Stonehenge anymore. They don't
Really?
No, they don't
They don't
let
let
you
you-
up in there
anywhere close like that.
because assholes.
That is my lifelong dream to somehow be able to do that, but it doesn't sound like I got much of a shot.
Well, is there like a fence around it? Can
I
we,
don't know.
like, is there like a sort of like a distract the guards
I
kind
don't know
of
if it's
situation?
worth going to jail for this dream. You know, just be like, time life, man, time life. I gotta do this.
Oh man, I do remember that.
Yeah, he's making the shape of that thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it zaps him.
I just showed the commercial to my girlfriend like 2 days ago.
You seriously
Oh,
were
wow.
just thinking about this.
We're going to Finland and stuff, and so I was like, yeah, I want to go to Stonehenge so that I can
That's
bend the
not-
wire. I know it's not there, but I
Okay.
was like, we're talking travel stuff,
Okay.
and I'm like,
kind of
my
on the
life
way.
dream is,
Yeah.
is to do this. And so I showed the commercial, and
Does it still like hold up in a scary way, or is it like
I think
this
it's
is
pretty,
hokey?
Okay, maybe it's a little hokey, but it's like it also includes like in the same commercial that one lady in Iowa has a stinging sensation in her hand. Elsewhere in Florida at the same time, her twin sister burns her hand on a pot. Coincidence?
Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay.
So a man has a premonition of impending doom before going on a plane. He turns around and goes home. The plane goes down. Coincidence?
Oh, I remember reading the cadence on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was another one. The other one that always creeped me out was there was always this one that was like analyzing the stone face on Mars. And
Oh yeah, the one that's actually a volcano. Yeah.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hate the look of that thing.
It is kind of creepy.
It's just
Yeah.
us trying to put a face to it.
Well, yeah, and then
Well-
actually, if you take a look, like, it's just the way that it's actually been photographed that way. But they've done a radar mapping of the entire surface, and you can
Yeah,
get on like
they've got
yeah,
way
you can
better
rotate it
images
around,
now. Yeah.
Do they?
So,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a face. So
Nowhere close,
Nowhere close.
to a face.
Well, I mean, that was the same thing. I remember a few years ago they had that picture of the Mars rover, and somebody was like, "Look, there's a penguin."
right, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So, I do remember that. Yeah.
That's the natural life on Mars.
Yeah.
Penguins.
Well,
does
they've had like 6 or like at least a half a dozen false alarms on that thing.
Oh yeah.
A couple of times, it's like, oh, did we find life? So this structure here looks like fucking
It can't be man.
The bones
Or
of-
it can't be natural.
yeah, exactly.
The circle is too clean for any sort of
Yep.
nature to have done this.
They found like a patch of dirt that was like just different color, and people were like, oh fuck, it's blah blah blah. It's like it's dirt. No, I used to watch a lot of that stuff.
I love that.
Yeah,
Golly good.
that and Unsolved Mysteries. You the fuck out of that show.
Yeah.
So I watched some clips from the old Robert Stack ones. They do not hold up.
Those dudes hammed it up like
They
nobody's
totally
fucking
did.
business.
I know, and we
Jesus.
all fell for
I
it
love
back
it.
Oh
then,
yeah. Which ones did you see?
I
Is
saw
there
the
some
one
that
on the
stick with me?
Queen Mary. So the ship.
The missing one? Is that the?
No, the one that's it's in Long Beach. It's supposed to be haunted and stuff. And so they had all these little
Oh.
stories that were being held on that ship, and the whole episode was about it and stuff. So, because they usually did like 2 or 3. So
In an hour. So in
It's
an
usually
hour.
4
was it 4?
because they do it one like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 4, and then they would do the updates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Updates were cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not really, because the updates we were always like, well, it turns out that this is actually the face of Jesus in this muffin.
right. Yeah.
But it was
Exactly.
always-
Right.
It was always, we got this
But it was
guy.
always like
we
found
actually
this guy
did
in
capture
Florida.
Sasquatch. Yeah. Confirmed.
We captured him, dissected him, made a steak out of him.
Cut him in all little pieces. Thoroughly documented. Come back next week.
No, because those were the ones I was waiting on. It's like,
I remember the Bigfoot one. So with
the
film,
pushing
the
yeah.
Bigfoot film.
So
Yeah.
and then this is the same thing. It was that guy in the Loch Ness Monster that years later the guy was like, "Yeah, I carved that out of soap."
yeah, you know what? They were. That was the first place I saw crop circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
And I remember those two guys when
Those two British-
those two fucking guys with a rope and a board. You're like, no way, these two assholes. And they're like, well, here, we'll show you how he did it. And then it's like, you motherfuckers.
But there are some, because I've watched way more of them. There's some that are not pushed down by boards. Like
yeah,
they have ruptured like corpse holes, like that can only be done by like heat kind of thing.
I've heard that.
And there's different ways that you can't.
Yeah,
it changed the actual genealogy of the plant for when it was going through the process.
Look, I don't doubt that if they could do that with a board and a rope, and that was, I remember specifically on fucking Unsolved Mysteries, one of the things they were talking about was like, we can't figure out why anytime that there's a camera recording this area, they never get one, right? And then it turns out because, two British guys were like, oi, oi. Go somewhere else, then, right?
Yeah.
Because you see some dickheads out there with like a camper and stuff, just like with and cameras back then. It's not like you could put like a GoPro right in the middle of your forest.
Yeah.
Right? These things are
you see a dude.
Yes, and they have to light it, and they have to do this. It's like, well, we're not going to do this here tonight. And so they take their rope and their board and they do it somewhere else.
5 fields down.
That's so fucking funny.
And then, that's where I first saw it. But I'll bet you that people have figured out, new things, or maybe there is something going on. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's just like, I was kind of like 10 years ago. I remember when I had the first time I had a camera on my cell phone. I was like, we're going to find the fucking Bigfoot. So, and now it's 10 years later, it ain't got one. So, and no Mothman. No reliable footage of a UFO landing in the middle of like the fucking Super Bowl.
No Jersey Devil.
No Jersey Devil. Yeah. No Loch Ness Monster. Yeah.
Chupacabra.
No Chupacabra.
So we're gonna go through all the cryptids. Yeah. What else? What else am I missing? The
Loch Ness Nessie, and the one in Canada,
which they did figure out what that was too. I think
that the iceberg, the ice shelf falling in the water. Yeah. It was fascinating for a while.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, and I had all these like fucking YouTube videos out there showing like this, enormous leviathan like of a whale, that it could be theoretically possible that we've never actually discovered the largest piece of moving flesh on the face of the planet. It was like, really?
I mean, that's possible in the ocean.
It's possible.
They've only got like a few shots of like a giant squid.
Right. Well, and for years they thought that thing was bullshit
Yeah.
until they pulled a couple of them up.
Yeah.
So
I argued that it was fake until like a couple years ago.
yeah, when it actually showed up, yeah, and people.
Well, and they'd say like, well, that's a big squid. They're like, and then they'd say, well, this is just a baby one. But then eventually they caught one.
They
it
did.
was like stuck on something, and they're like, that's a big ass squid.
Yeah, they threw it in a refrigerator too. So on a ship.
Was that it?
Yeah, they actually brought it back.
Yeah.
Because apparently, like, if you actually pull a squid out of the ocean like that, it starts to turn into like goop after like 5 minutes. Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's just
It's
yeah.
washed up on shore
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, they just basically turn into fucking melted styrofoam.
Yeah.
So,
I remember I was listening to a podcast. It was cracking me up because they were they were talking about like they thought the official way that they got rid of beached whales was dynamite.
No, that is not
It's
how
like,
you do that.
they all saw that video. Like that's what they do with every whale. It's like, no man.
No, they
hit it
did that with
one.
one. Yeah, and they'll never ever do that again. In fact, they still refer to it as the day we all ran.
So obviously you guys have all seen that
I've
footage.
seen that, yeah, it's horrifying, man. So it takes about 10 seconds, or it's not even, it's like 5 seconds before everybody's like, fuck!
Where it's landing in town.
Everywhere, man.
You talk about just weird things that you don't know that other people have seen. It's like, you ever seen that video where they dynamite the whale? And you're like, yes, many times.
Yes, many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could not stop watching it.
Well, and then they showed
That was old
ones.
YouTube, man.
Yeah.
That was old YouTube.
And that was the thing they were talking about, because I was looking up like exploding whales and stuff, because there's two variations of that, right? Is one the one where they're trying to get rid of the carcass, so they blow it up, but they put like 14 times the dynamite in there. I don't know how you do that. It's like, you need one. It's like, I don't use them all. Just put a whole box.
Well, they're about to expire.
Right. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Some dude's coffee shop in like downtown Washington is like, you're kidding me. But they also talked about how with whales in particular, the body gases,
Explode.
yeah,
Blow up, yeah.
and they were showing videos of guys like they'll walk up to it and like poke it with a stick, and then I was like, how much footage? And there's like the videos since I watched them all. And I'm laughing like Pat is. I'm laughing like Pat is because it's like I'm like a lunatic. I'm like, this is so funny. And yeah, they
I'm
just
gonna have to go do that tonight.
just look up exploding whales. You'll see it.
I'm going to.
You know, and it shouldn't be as funny as this, but it
It
is.
is fine.
Right.
Well, they're already dead. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not.
It's not you catching a whale, tossing him on the beach, booby trapping him.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm trying to remember. There was another. Maybe you'll remember this. I remember I ended up looking into the actual story later on because I remembered on Unsolved Mysteries there was this one clip they did of what I thought was like a shed that was on fire, right? And they talked about how they found this videotape and there's this building that's on fire. It looked like a little storage shed, right? And there's this dude with this like stupid voice, right? Narrating this, and he's like, "Omar, look at the flames."
But I don't remember what came about it. But yeah, I remember seeing that.
So it turns out that I had this memory of like, because it's a video of burning something at night, right? I'm like, who the fuck cares? I'm like, why is this an unsolved mystery? Well, it turns out that wasn't a shed. It was actually like a big California house. And it was actually a very serious arson. And it turned out that there was like some kind of like Satanist connection to it. Like, no shit, right? Actual like satanic thing that goes on it. And I remember they're talking about this narration, and of course it's Robert Stack. He's like, who is this mysterious Omar that he's referring to? And I remember he actually said, is like, is he saying Omar or Momar? Is this Muammar Gaddafi? Is this an act of terrorism? Right? And I just remember seeing this video. I'm like, was this ever anything more than a shed? And no, people died in it. So this was why it was sort of a big deal. And it was because it was just this found videotape, right? Where they're like, what's on this? And I watch it, it's like, this is the guy actually
Murdered people.
Yes. Yeah. And I think they solved the case. They eventually found the guy and found way more tapes of like other stuff. I was like, oh, well, that's shitty. I guess I shouldn't have thought of this as something so corny.
Didn't they just recently decrypt that? Who was the
Zodiac.
The Zodiac. Didn't they decrypt his letter finally?
Yes.
With AI, if I'm not
So
mistaken.
they had actually decrypted it before.
Oh, okay.
They had an AI sweep it for different things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of mundane. So
Yeah, it wasn't.
yeah, it wasn't, this like 4-dimensional chess, kind of thing.
No, because they deciphered
Yeah.
a lot of the newest thing that they're saying right now is they think it wasn't one guy. They think it was
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I think they said it was 3 people.
Yeah, I've heard that too. So there was a show on Netflix maybe like 2-3 years ago where they were trying to pin down like 2 or 3 suspects, and I don't think they actually could point the finger at any one of them eventually. But
No, as soon as they said it wasn't Ted Cruz, I mean,
that was his dad.
I'm sorry, I just can't keep up with this.
Fucking Donald Trump. God.
He's gonna win it though, huh?
I don't know, man. He
It's
was
too
roasting
early.
Ron DeSantis pretty fucking hard the other day. So, did you see his mock up of the Zoom call?
Oh, because it was glitchy and stuff.
Well,
or something?
it went okay. So first, I don't know. Did you listen to the whole thing?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I listened to most of it. All right. So you can find it on YouTube now, where it cuts the first like half an hour off, where it's all fucked up. So, but apparently that's because Elon Musk was using whatever his super version of Twitter was.
I can't remember the whole reason behind it, but
Well, as soon as
There's
he
also
logged
another
out
reason.
and everybody logged back in, it was fine after
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah, it did take like 25 minutes. And fucking A, if the that menace, comma orange, didn't show up the very next day with a mock Zoom call that had everybody talking over each other. It had like fucking Dick Cheney coughing throughout the entire thing. So, you know. It had George Soros on there, and he's just like, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?" You know?
Oh my gosh.
I was just like, "Oh my god, that was so easy for him to do too, wasn't it?" So he had Hitler on the call too.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
well,
well,
there you go.
naturally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
That like comes with the software. It's like a
Right.
base thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think you were the one that had to like stop me, and like you didn't even have to say anything. I think you just like said my name and gave me a look. Was like, I remember asking you like, how come in all the Civilization games they never let you play as Hitler? And I think you just kind of like,
Yeah.
I think you were like, Jeff,
Yeah.
Really?
because I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, it makes sense.
Well, the first one was even worse if you think about it now, man. You
Stalin.
can play both Stalin or Mao in that
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the guys who killed all the people, you know. You know, and I saw an interview with Sid Meier a while ago where they asked him about it. He said, "To be fair, I just don't know that much about them, so they're the ones that I could think of." So, yeah.
That's how you and I would make games, man. It's
Oh,
I
absolutely.
know that's
yeah.
the problem. It's like,
yeah.
do you know? It's like, nah, but I think
Yeah.
right.
Facts? Who needs facts?
Facts,
No, we're close enough to where we would put. We'd get caught because like, if we
Somebody knows.
yeah, if we. Now keep in mind, this of course would have been like 1991. Jeff and Pat making this, so
Oh yeah.
we'd been going off of like bullshit. It's like, do any of you have a book? It's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's, you know,
My parents had encyclopedias. They were all from the '60s, though.
right,
Yeah.
right.
We did
So-
not have all the letters.
No, we didn't. I know we were missing a couple of
We
them,
were
but
missing
yeah.
some, yeah.
But yeah, our encyclopedias would like call Mao this like up and coming star, or
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Watch
Yeah.
out for this guy.
Watch out for this guy.
He's really looking to make some names for himself here.
Top 10. Who's who? Yeah.
What a fucking waste of paper. Like,
Oh, encyclopedias. I remember my dad years later lamented about that. So
that he bought them or that
that he had put quite a bit of money into them. So, you know, and it was all about educating the boys, you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then years later, the first time he got an Encarta CD,
yeah.
he was like, "We need to throw those books out." So, so he kept them for years just because they looked nice on the shelf. So
They did.
did.
They did. Because in theory, the whole point was to get you to buy them every year.
Yeah. Mhm.
But that's absurd.
Yeah, they had yearbooks, so that would come out, then I would update
Addendums, yeah,
addendums every
yeah,
single year.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't fault it for.
No,
No.
I mean, it did have a lot of information.
Sure,
but
If you think about it, right, the library buys those books, not you.
yeah, exactly.
Because when you think about it, it's like, so how many times would you actually turn to the encyclopedia for something that you were talking about, right? Maybe twice a year for like a report, if that.
Well, yeah, you
I
do
use
it for
school.
homework.
Yeah, I used it for school
So-
reports all the time.
Right, but not that much.
No, and I would use the schools usually.
That's the
So-
thing is you like, okay, well then you guys should have the greatest encyclopedias of mankind in the library or at the school, right?
Well, they always had multiple sets too.
That's what I'm saying. But for private ownership, right, that seems like such overkill.
It was the thing for a while, though.
It
man.
was.
Yeah. So
If I was at the same point, I would have bought it for the kids.
yeah,
I you know, and I would have
100%,
too. I
yeah.
promise you, I would have done the same thing. But in hindsight, it's like, you buy these, and for what you pay for them, you're like, well, the kids should actually be reading a chapter from these every night for what
That's what I would envision my
Yeah.
kids. But I tell my kids all the time to find something to learn from on YouTube, and then you can have more YouTube.
Yeah, okay, that's.
But
This-
the
this generation of
encyclopedias
children.
didn't have like 5 sections of like comics, and be like,
Oh,
all right, read
Yeah.
something interesting in here, then the comic
Oh
section.
my god! Like, so we're going to the library. What are you checking out? Like, Garfield games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I found a Far Side book. It's actually here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, in theory, yeah, you'd be like, oh, you learned something cool. Now you want to use it all the time.
Right.
No. Even the cool stuff they make on YouTube doesn't inspire them to be like, all right, I need to find the next cool thing on YouTube that teaches me something.
My daughter will go on streaks where she gets hooked on like some
Yeah.
kind of channel that's like informative. Like she's been watching those extra credit dorks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but she likes the new guy, and I
Wait,
didn't know that
what?
James was a sex pest. So
Yeah.
there you go.
What are extra credit doors?
Extra Credits used to be a TV show that was all about video games, and it still kind of is. But there's like 4 different. There's like
Right, there's
history
the history
one,
one,
and
there's
she
the-
liked that one, and then she's gotten into literature one, and so lately she's been reading, well, I guess, reading the using the dick quotes here.
Right.
The combined works of Shakespeare on it. So it's like, oh, okay, you like this stuff. She's like, yeah. It's like, great. So
Watch away.
the book's right up there.
Oh.
So, you know, because I have my compendium. I know you do. So,
I've just got the Norton. I've got it all in one book.
I've got Shakespeare and Norton. So one, it's just
Yeah.
all of his shit. Okay, yeah, I think you and I probably have the same one.
And it's well, mine's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all the plays, all the sonnets, all
Yep.
everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
How
yeah.
much
like
does a book like that cost?
Oh, that was like $310.
Yeah.
Holy guacamole!
I've got like 5 of them too.
Oh, you do? Oh.
Yeah. So I've got Norton English
Oh,
1,
yeah,
English
yeah.
2, American 1, American 2.
I thought you had 5 Shakespeare ones. But
No,
he doesn't have that
she's,
much
she's
stuff.
just not gonna. I have to buy that same book the same time. Like that's
Right, right.
ridiculous. It's like, but yeah, it's these are pretty much everything.
Wow, gosh,
Um,
yeah. $300 for a book. Ooh.
Oh man, that
Oh,
was
fuck
yeah.
off. Yeah,
I used
that
to do
was-
that all
that
the
was-
time back in college, man.
Yeah.
So
Mine got to like 150, not 300.
What books were you
Yeah.
buying?
Like microbiology and all the textbooks.
Mine were even used. Like used were like $200 still.
Yeah, mine were always used, but
Yeah.
I mean that was all right. Maybe brand.
some were just really. I mean, some of them are still expensive. I mean, I've been fighting off publishers the last 2 weeks, so because it's the end of the year, so they come out of the woodworks and try and push their fucking peddle their wares on you, and everybody talks about cost consciousness and this stuff now, and it's like, yeah, I use shit that's free online,
Right.
you know,
Right.
which is much cheaper than this $340 hardcover book that you want me to use. So they're insane, man. So they're crazy expensive, especially in certain topics. Anything that's business, expensive. Anything that's science, expensive. So anything that's lit,
Hey, the lit
Yeah.
man. This shit ain't free.
well, that's because you got to buy a lot of them usually. So
Or one big
or
one.
one big one. Yeah. So no, I had to buy those. I think I have the American lit ones. I don't have the English ones, but I do have the Shakespeare one, and that was probably about. I don't think mine was that expensive because I got it at the community college, but it's pretty close.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was expensive for me.
It was not cheap. Yeah.
I had to use it for 2 classes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah.
So on that, but yeah, nowadays it's like, I mean, why? You
Does your
know?
daughter even have books like for school?
No.
Everything's
on the
their
laptop.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, her handwriting sucks. Okay, because everything's on the laptop. Her spelling sucks. Okay, because she doesn't read; she listens to shit. So you know, but it's fine because I'm sitting here looking. It's like, wait a minute, what kind of math are you doing? holy shit, I didn't see that till ninth grade. Nice. You know? So,
She's doing geometry or something?
yeah, she's been doing geometry like crazy. So, and she already got punched into advanced math again next year. So, and she got homework over the summer. Ha ha ha. Boom, boom.
What?
Yeah.
Does she
From
have a
the
reading
school?
list?
From the school.
Does she have a reading list?
No.
Oh.
She did not get to advanced English.
I remember, okay, so I remember one year, this didn't happen to me, but it happened to you. Over the summer, your reading list included the Book of Job.
Yep,
And I remember
I don't think I read it.
I did. I remember that.
You read it because you had sort of like, this is fucked up.
I don't really remember reading that. I don't know where I read a ton of stuff.
That was one thing because like when you got to like the moral of it, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
You're like,
There were like 3 books that you had to read out of the Bible.
which was odd, yeah.
Job, and I think Genesis was one of the other ones.
Was Genesis one of them?
I think it was Genesis, not Exodus. So
Definitely not Exodus.
no, I think it was Genesis. Yeah.
I've never read Exodus, so yeah, it definitely wasn't that.
Okay, yeah, but I distinctly remember you having a discussion with Dad about the Book of Job because you were like, "This doesn't seem right."
Dad, why is God mean?
Yeah. There's a couple of sections in there where, especially the Old Testament, you're like the story of Isaac, the story of
That one's
Job.
brutal.
You're like, wait, so you were gonna do it?
You were gonna do it. Don't you do it?
Yeah, and then-
then,
But then when you find out that the Book of Job it's all a wager,
right, yeah.
it's like I can get this guy. It's like I don't think you can. It's like, you want to bet?
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
wanna bet?
well, no, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
But we're going to.
We're bored.
It's like, so what is the moral of this story? It's like, well, I don't know.
You should have better hobbies. Yeah.
So we're gonna torment this guy for a while. We're gonna ruin everything about him. It's like how so? It's like, let's start with like he's gonna have like spores like Cobra Commander.
They hiss.
Will he say that he was once a man?
It's kind of like with that. I know he had like boils, and it's like, let's kill his family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's gonna give up on you soon. Nah, this is my guy.
This is my boy.
This is my guy. He's never gonna let me down. Yeah, that was a weird thing for kids to have to read.
I don't think we were that young. I want to say that was
It
probably
was like sixth grade or like 6th or 7th grade.
Oh no, I think that was high
Oh,
school.
it was
high school.
yeah.
Yeah. It might have been going into high school.
The 6th grade, you're still in elementary school.
Yeah, we were still in elementary school. So
Well, okay. So they're in junior high now, but yeah.
Yeah. The reading list like that wasn't until, yeah, I think like
yeah, it was. I think it was going into 10th grade.
I remember some of your reading lists. I ended up like cutting those like later, but yeah, I remember like I don't think you liked A Separate Piece.
I don't even remember that one. So no.
With Steinbeck. I think that was your joke. I think it was like
Oh,
you called
yeah.
it a separate piece of crap.
Sounds
That sounds like a
right.
William joke.
I remember also reading a book that you came across called The Lottery Rose.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? What?
That's the one where you pick up the rocks in the
Yeah.
end, right? Yeah.
I just remember he keeps trying to plant this rose bush, and people don't want him to plant this rose bush,
Oh, I
and he
don't
keeps
remember.
getting the crap kicked
Oh
out
no,
of him.
that's just the lottery.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's-
Oh!
Just the lottery is the rock one.
Oh no!
I remember seeing that in like 6th grade and being traumatized by it. So, yeah. It was actually shown in class. And I was like, she's
we-
gonna be
we're not
okay, right? So-
Man, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up, yeah. So
I don't know if my kids are. I don't know if they even do reading lists anymore.
not like they used to.
No?
No. So like I don't remember. My daughter did bring a few books home, but they were like loaner books. One of them was actually a poetry book. She liked that. And the other one was like I want to say it was Snowbound, which is one that I remember reading. And then
That's a London piece, isn't it?
yeah, Jack London.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another one. So she's had to read a couple novels, you know.
Did you read The Giver?
I don't. Yeah.
I feel like all kids have had to read that. I've taught it like 5 times.
Yeah. No, not that I remember. It was definitely Snowbound, and then there was one that was
Call of the Wild.
no. That one would have been better, but I don't remember.
Yeah, in elementary school, they had to read 15 minutes a night. Once they got to middle school, they're just like, yeah, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, but in elementary school, for every 15 minutes that you did, you got a step on the chart, but put you closer to the Book It, Pizza Hut.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, it does at my daughter's school. She totally fucking gave up on it halfway through.
She still would get the pizzas?
Yeah, where you go like, you have to read like 50 books or something.
Right.
Yeah. So she made it to like 30, and she's like, we're not going to do this.
You're just going to buy me pizza, aren't you?
Yeah, considering it's one of the 3 things you eat. So, you know.
We had pizza so infrequently
Yeah.
that was a huge
was-
deal. And I got it. I got
yeah.
all the stars.
Getting your own personal pizza. God, those things are so small.
Oh, they're tiny. They're like bagels. Yeah. So,
And now,
yeah.
I worked at Pizza Hut. They deliver a bunch of them to school lunches.
yeah. That's
You get Pizza Hut pizzas at school lunch. I was
my
like,
daughter's school.
what the
Yeah.
flip?
They have those. They
Why
have,
the heck are you gonna
I don't think they
read?
deliver them there. I think they actually make them there. So, but they're branded.
They
as
deliver
Pizza
the
Hut.
product, and then
Maybe
they're
that's what
cooked.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's something about it, but yeah,
Oh shit, dude! They sell I presume they're the same ones that they would sell at like the university. Yeah.
probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
the
little
little
ones
ones.
are about
Yeah.
this
That
big,
they
yeah.
cut
In
into fours.
silver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they
Or
came
I
in the
guess they
little
take it out,
boxes.
yeah.
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 But you're probably right in those.
Yeah, you get pepperoni, cheese, or supreme.
Oh, we didn't make Supreme.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
pepperoni or cheese or I
Sausage.
think we did sausage.
Yeah.
We did.
Just plain sausage
Yeah.
pizza. That's kind of a weird one, man.
Those are the ones I got.
Are they?
Yeah.
Really? You didn't put
Cool.
black olives on or nothing?
Oh,
At the school?
Oh, never mind.
No. If you're talking about,
school, you get one topping.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I just remember the ones at the university. You had 3. You had pepperoni, cheese.
I
and
could
you
see
had
that
fucking
at a
Supreme.
university.
That
Yeah,
was it.
because it was like, what can we do to get rid of all these extra goddamn peppers we have?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, if you showed up early, you could have your choice. If you showed up a little bit later, you get a Supreme. So, you know.
This is such a misnomer. Why the fuck did that get the title of Supreme Pizza? I remember the first time I ordered one of those, thinking that the name was such hotness, and I was like, so I got like onions,
Right, it's
I
got
got-
onions and peppers.
and peppers, and like a different kind of pepper. And
Right.
I think you get the black olives on there,
And sausage.
which was the only thing that I like. I'm like, this is a Supreme Pizza, according to who?
According to whom? Yeah.
It was just a handful of whatever scraps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like the Frito Lay floor when they made that. No, they have that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
called Munchies.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw a kid eating one of those, I was like, "What is this?" And there's like a Cheeto and those weird like pretzels and all this stuff. This is trash.
Leftover.
Yeah.
The bottom of the bin, just shuffle it together and
Well, at first I was like, "That seems ingenious," and then I bought a bag and I'm like, "This tastes like a mismatch. Like these flavors don't gel. This is literally the sum of its parts, if not worse."
if I wanted Cheetos, I'll just get a bag of Cheetos.
That was it. No, it's the same kind of thing where I don't. Do you guys know what Gardettos are?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I really want is just a bag of the rye chips. I don't need all those other floaty things.
Mhm.
I don't need those weird little like pretzel rods. I don't need
No,
those
just the
little
little
bread things.
piece, the toasty things.
Just the
Yeah.
toasty things. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Right?
But you get the mini pretzel rod, the wafer, and the white bread toast.
So, yeah.
Whether you like it or not. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like I don't want this.
Yeah, I used to look forward to that. You know, as a kid, we'd fly around. You'd actually get the ones that were just the rye. So,
They sell those now, yeah.
yeah.
They finally caved to the fact that people hate all the other
All
crap.
the other crap, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
It
gonna get the one
sucks.
with fucking peanuts in it that are always stunted.
That's a
Yeah.
The same thing is when it comes to people with like their trail mix, just come clean and say you want M&Ms.
Yeah, just eat the M&Ms.
Like, don't
yeah.
don't lie.
Don't put fucking banana chips in there.
It's not even.
disgusting.
It's banana chips. Okay, I got it. It's just that like raisins don't work. Raisins work on their own, but they do not gel with any other kind of thing.
No, they fly solo.
They do, because
So,
you're
yeah.
like, okay, that's an M&M, that's an M&M, and then you get down to it, and then there's this thing that's like really hard and chewy that really fucks up the texture of everything else in there.
That would be the raisins.
Yeah.
I used to eat raisins all the time, man.
I like raisins,
yeah,
I do,
yeah,
but they just don't gel with other
It's been a
stuff.
long time
It's been a
since I've had
while.
raisin.
Yeah.
Like the worst cereal is Raisin Bran, because you're like,
I love Raisin Bran, man.
those textures are so incongruous. They
You
do not.
gotta let it get nice and sludgy, man.
I never tried that.
You
Is
gotta
that-
wait like 5, just,
Oh, I let all my cereals soak.
You see, now there's other cereals that must be served crunchy. So
What's crunch?
you like Life cereal, you have to eat it as fast
Yeah,
as fucking
never eaten
possible.
Life.
So
Well, you were the one that taught me to make a nice porridge out of Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles.
that's horrifying.
Frosted
But yeah,
Flakes.
What?
Yeah,
Well, it's about the milk. Like
I
the
know.
milk becomes
Like,
like
they all kind of blend together.
Oh,
man.
so
yeah,
good.
No, that was too much fruit sludge for me. That's why I like the Fruit Loops. It actually lasts a little bit longer. So-
I'll still eat Fruit Loops, and I let them soak for a while,
Yeah.
and you still get the good milk.
Well, and the same thing was true with Apple Jacks. So back then, yeah. See, that's another thing that like kids just, the cereals are not the same, man. So
They make it the gimmick cereal of
They're-
every movie that comes out.
I know. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
I think there's like Little Mermaid cereal right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
That like whatever movie comes out, there's a cereal
cereal.
that they just cut the new shapes out. And,
Wait, but everything that I've seen, like, you can still get Captain Crunch. You
Oh
can,
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Captain
yeah,
Crunch.
yeah.
once a year
Right.
they fuck up and oops, they put nothing but crunch berries in
Oh no,
it.
that's
but-
all year.
That's all you can get that right now.
Wait, that's not seasonal anymore?
No,
No,
it's not. It's not a
seasonal-
McRib anymore.
The seasonal
It's there
one
all the time.
is the 4th of July one.
Oh, they also have the Christmas Crunch.
They do.
Christmas
yeah,
Crunch,
that's right.
yeah.
Which is just
And,
That's
and
horrifying.
We're
red and
digging we're digging into the 4th of July ones. I think they're tasty. The yellow things they don't like barely exist.
they go in the
anymore.
trash.
So yeah, almost every Captain Crunch doesn't have it anymore.
I'm
actually-
hacking material.
Yeah. Yeah, next time you get your fucking computer monitor, it
Right, yeah, exactly. Strapped to crap Captain Crunch. Yeah, it's like, get rid of this stuff. Is it recyclable?
I mean, I've seen that they've sort of altered like tricks. You don't get like regular tricks anymore.
You
Like
can.
berries and stuff. And,
Yeah.
They're like weird shapes or
but
like.
it tastes exactly the same as regular trick.
Well, I will admit that I do like that they have now made these things called minis, which are the same thing, but they're just tiny little dots. And
Oh, for tricks? I didn't know that.
Trix will do that. Cinnamon Toast Crunch does that. I find that
Mm.
to be a far more appealing presentation. Because Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I'm sorry, that's something that the timer is running against you as soon as
You gotta eat that.
Oh no, I soak those. I love soaking
Oh
those.
man, it just turns it into
then
oatmeal.
just eat oatmeal.
Yeah,
They make like cinnamon sugar
it's like brown
oatmeal.
sugar oatmeal.
Yeah, and that's delicious.
I don't like oatmeal.
Oh really?
Yeah.
But that's what you're making.
Yeah,
you're
that's
just
what you're
making
It's
Fruity
the same
Pebbles
thing.
oatmeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't make Fruity Pebbles oatmeal. That's why you have to make that
Oh,
custom.
they make it now.
That's disgusting.
I'm pretty sure they make all sorts of zany flavor stuff for.
I've seen what they did to Pop Tarts. All right, and fuck that.
There's so many
Oh my god.
flavors.
So,
We had three. We had the strawberry,
brown sugar.
holes, strawberry with holes,
Yeah.
strawberry frosted,
Yeah.
and the fucking
They
gross
had
ass
apple.
cherry.
Oh yeah. Didn't they have
You
an
guys
apple?
you never had the maple ones?
Well, I have now, but when I'm
Oh,
talking when
okay.
we were young, there
used to-
were
I just
The
always get
cherry,
those when I was
that's
a
right.
kid.
there were
But
like three types of Pop Tarts.
apple. It was.
They
Yeah,
had
they had
apple
the
cinnamon.
apple, the
Yeah.
like the apple brown sugar, like
Yeah,
one.
because it didn't have frosting on that
Right,
one too.
right. There were only like five.
I
back
don't think
then.
any come without frosting.
I distinctly remember having the like maple brown sugar ones when I was a kid.
I think that
Yeah.
was the other, because you would get the pack that had like two maple browns, two
Yeah.
and the maple browns, those were dads.
Oh, okay.
Those were a sophisticated flavor for his coffee that he matched with his coffee. The strawberry ones, well,
You guys had to fight over this.
and I remember distinctly that there would always be those Pop Tarts where like they came in the wrappings of two,
Yeah.
right? And so you'd open the one and you're like, ugh. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
like
you
this.
just leave it, and you'd leave it open, and you
Yes.
wouldn't actually close the
Turn
package
rock
back
hard.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
within like 12 hours, the
If
thing
that.
had fossilized.
Right. That's into a roof shingle.
Once the toaster strudel things came out,
Oh,
I
fuck
didn't
yeah.
touch a Pop Tart after that.
I used to eat Pop Tarts all the fucking time, man.
Well, I did because toaster strudel only came in like 2 flavors.
Yeah,
right?
but you got to like suck on the frosting.
Yes, but they didn't come in like s'mores. They didn't
No,
come
no,
in.
no.
You had what? There was apple, and then there was the strawberry.
Look, don't get me wrong; those were good. And
Those
you know
were
what?
delicious. I mean, that was a treat though at my house because that was commissary food. So yeah, because like mom went to King Super, she'd take a look at that, she'd be like, it's way too expensive, man. And so you get the box of Pop Tarts, all right, to hold you over until next time mom goes to commissary, and then my brother and I get to fight over the toaster strudel. So
Yeah. Was there? I remember there was one that I ended up eating quite a few of that didn't have like breakfast shit in it.
oh, the Scrambles, those are fucking great. I still eat those. So whenever I actually go do my own shopping, which is rare.
They were called toaster scrambles.
Scrambles.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
okay.
make a sausage one that's really fucking good.
You know what? That's right. I did.
The
have
bacon
that.
one is
Those
kind of
were good.
gross. So I mean, it's not bad, but your bacon's gonna be like really questionable.
It's chewy in the raw.
Sometimes,
way. Yeah, or
sometimes not. Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's no predictability behind it.
Sometimes you're like, there's a lot of limestone in this.
Yes.
Dude, I remember.
Vulcanized bacon.
I was trying to remember the other things. The other things I was like obsessed with like frozen or things like that. I remember like, what were they? They were like these like bagel minis. These
Yeah,
like,
the mini
little-
bagels. Yeah,
Yeah.
that had pizza shit on top.
Yeah,
they were
I
great.
liked those for a while.
Mhm.
I ate the Totino's pizza rolls for a while, but man,
Those are so like
Just-
nuclear hot. That
Yes.
yeah. I mean, you learn quickly that you're either going to eat these right and wait 20 minutes after you make them, or you're just going to get the pizza. And I became the pizza guy. So
the pizzas were better. I don't love those either, but
I love
they're
those pizzas. So the only reason why I liked it was because you get 5 of them for the price that you could get one Red Baron. So
it's funny. And Red Barons weren't that expensive either.
yeah, but I don't know. I remember distinctly when I'm in poverty days, Red Baron was a treat. So
Yeah, I know, but like the ones that were quote unquote a treat but weren't great were the DiGiorno's, right?
I never liked those. My mom loved them when we were growing up. So did my brother, and so I used to get them all the time. And that would be like, was there Totino's in there? Yeah, I never liked those, man.
No, they're okay, but I mean, for what they were charging, you'd think these things were amazing, but they
Yeah.
just had a weird off flavor to them.
Well,
like,
same thing with that. What was it? You get the crusts that you used to make?
oh, Boboli?
Boboli,
I
yeah.
had no problems with those whatsoever.
I always thought the crust was kind of weird, man.
It was a little
So,
bit
yeah,
weird,
okay.
but the fact is you could stack it with all sorts of...
Yeah, you can put whatever the fuck you want.
Like, I mean, if I had one of those right now, I mean, you'd be like, this is just cheese. Like,
yeah, everywhere.
it's just like melting onto the
Yeah.
sides of the shit. And that would be good.
Yeah, sure.
I remember about a year ago, I got one of those Stouffer's French toast pizzas.
They are not as you remember
That
them.
is the sum of its parts. It is bad bread with
Yeah.
bad sauce with bad little half.
And way too many onions on it, man. So
It was
fucking
not
crawling with
amazing.
them. Yeah.
I had a Stouffer's lasagna not too long ago, and that was just as my childhood remembered.
Yeah. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
It wasn't great, but it was like I
but
remember
it's so
this.
gooey. So yeah.
Yes, it was.
I remember those.
Well, keep in mind that we didn't make our own lasagnas around here, so that
Oh,
was what
we always
lasagna
did.
was.
Yeah, we never had a made lasagna.
No,
No.
we always used to make our own lasagna.
I mean, I still make, spaghetti with chili from time to time.
Yeah.
because of my family's Ohio roots, but that's
Hey, there's nothing to be said. There's nothing wrong with that, man. In fact, the first time that I had that at a restaurant, I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is great." So it's like covered in cheddar cheese. It was like this. Why isn't this normal?
well, I mean, that was the thing. Yeah, it was also that spaghetti was just it was a vessel for Kraft Parmesan,
Oh yeah.
the throw up powder, but I love it.
Oh
I
yeah.
still love it.
Throw up powder?
Yeah.
Okay, man. If you
Okay.
run across some people that are like, that's not Parmesan, right? You're gonna hear it. They think so little of the powdered stuff, but
Okay.
To be
like it
fair,
so
I liked
much.
it, but we call it sprinkle cheese because my daughter.
What do
did
you
that.
call it?
Yeah.
Big salt.
Big salt.
Big
yeah.
salt. There you go. So
salt, yeah.
my daughter, when she was like a lot younger and she finally started eating pizza, she always wanted sprinkle cheese on it, so we just call it sprinkle cheese. Now that being said, I always have Parmesan wedge in my house. So because there
I
are
have no problem with it.
there are some things
Yeah.
you just cannot fucking beat. So
Yeah.
you know, with that cheese.
Yeah, if you actually like grate it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely, it's quite fine. I'm not sitting there saying it's superior,
I
but
don't even think I own a grater.
Oh my god, I use my cheese grater every fucking day. So, yeah. I mean, any meal that I don't know why I switched, but I did like 2-3 years ago because we used to do, you know, the Costco sack of cheese, mixed cheese.
it's 10 times as expensive.
Exactly. So you
For
just get the
just-
big motherfucking block
Yes.
and it's fresh and it's not got all that sawdust shit on it. So and I just So like I mean we turn like any kind of like thing that has any kind of cheddar cheese is Tillamook now. That stuff's fucking badass. Not even the sharp stuff, just the normal stuff is really good.
Huh.
And so it completely changed, you know, a couple years ago. And now I got a cheese grater, and it's in the dishwasher just about every time we run it. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
See, and that's the thing is, I will also argue that Tillamook is the cutoff for like the Overton window of cheese, right? Because once you get past Tillamook,
oh yeah, it gets weird.
that's exactly it.
Yeah, it
right.
gets weird.
It becomes very esoteric. It becomes like, do you like this? The flavors turn to overdrive, and either you're into it or you're not. But it's not like, so you go from like Safeway brand, which is fine.
It's fine.
Then you get to like Cracker Barrel,
That stuff, I used to love that shit.
which is
It's just expensive.
it's expensive
Yeah.
and it's
Do they
just
sell that in the store?
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, it's not like from the restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's just,
no.
it's
no,
just
no.
the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the brand.
gotcha.
So
And then you get to Tillamook, and once you get past that, it's
Yeah.
just weird.
yeah, Tillamook is cheap and good. So you know.
It's just the kind of weird that you like. I know that I guarantee you that there's something in there like your dad would go to, like it's like, oh yeah, this is the
Oh, the port wine cheese or whatever.
yes,
Yeah,
or
it's like
whatever,
fucking
you know, weird version of this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or you get to the like, no man, the rind is part of the flavor. I'm like,
Ugh. I can't stand that. So
I've tried them all.
Definitely can tell you.
really,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
no.
I love trying different cheeses, and there are some that are great. But then again, like I come down to it and I say, do I want this or do I want like 50 mini Baby Bells?
Oh, I'd much
For the
rather eat
same
those.
price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
love those. Man, I bought those in a while. Fuck.
Oh, that's what I reminded you. It's
Yeah.
great.
Those are great.
Yeah, and you just like open them up, and then you like put the wax in your hands, and you make a cube
Yeah.
Yeah.
A perfect. Yeah, I make dice out of them all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say, man.
Yeah, think
I
we're
thought I
done
was
now,
the
yeah.
only one.
No, man. So if I got a pen, it turns into a die.
Yeah.
You hold the wax for a little while.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, what I'd like to think is that somewhere out there, there's like 5,000 people that right now they were just like, but I thought.
I was the only one.
Yeah.
No, guys, we got you covered.
All right.
All right.
Any final thoughts?
Go Nuggets.
Yeah.
Or hold up. Go Heat.
Go Heat.
Go Heat. Win tomorrow, and Nuggets get a title. If it's not, then the
An
Nuggets
easy
do.
title.
Yeah.
Not so easy title.
and I will sweat it out.
All right.
Okay, that's
Okay. Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that. I think that's a good
no.
place. Yeah.
You and I bonded over cheese.
We're
dude.
good. Yeah. So I'm gonna go make cheese cubes right now. All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.